Isaiah 26, verse 3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. The reason I keep on going to the book in Isaiah, if you don't know, the book of Isaiah is the book of restoration. It's a very special book to me. It's my favorite book of the Bible because during this time, the Lord taught me a lot in Isaiah and Psalms as well. So after the Lord delivered me from the spirit of fear, the Lord started showing me about trust. Do I really trust him? Now, if anybody would have asked me that, I would have told you, of course I trust the Lord. I didn't really know if I trust the Lord. I had never been to where I had to find out if I was going to be tested in that area up until this point. So everybody in my family found out about Eric leaving. He got an apartment. It was tough. I remember the day before he moved out, our house was robbed. And a kind of funny story, when our house was robbed, Eric thought that I set it up to be robbed, and he accused me of that. Then my dad thought that Eric had done something to set this up, and he was accusing that Eric had done this, and our house was just robbed. And all of these things happened. He tried to rent a U-Haul. The U-Haul broke down, and he had to call me to go pick him up. And I did. I went and picked him up. So it's like the Lord was trying to stop him, but Eric was determined. And the day he moved out, he didn't see this, and it's on the video that he shared. But I had our little one I was holding, and Sierra was, I guess she was about 6, and when he was driving away, she started running after the U-Haul, started chasing the U-Haul. That was a very low time. To watch your daughter do that, I cannot tell you, and I mean that part of the testimony, I can't even watch it. It was such a scarring in the heart, and to have to hold her and hold her down and tell her that it was going to be okay, that was very difficult. So I have our 2 children, and my family, I'm very blessed with a great family, and they were like, great, now you're going to move to Texas, we're going to help you, and this is going to be fine. Sarah, you're going to be great. We're going to take care of you. And the Lord kept telling me to trust in him and to lean not to my own understanding, but to listen to where he wanted me to be led. And I didn't. I told them that no, that I was going to stay. I felt like the children needed to be close to their father, and that I was actually in the process of my student teaching, and that I was staying where I was. They weren't real happy about that because they loved me and they wanted to help me, and I had no help. I had no family that lived around, so it was very difficult. I'd lost a lot of weight. It was just a hard time. I had a professor at that time. I was student teaching, and if you're a teacher, when you're student teaching, you cannot work because you're at the school like full-time as a teacher. So I had a professor who was very concerned about me because she saw the weight I was losing. And I told her, I said, I think I'm just going to have to wait. I'm going to have to quit school. And she would not let me. She was like, oh, no, you're not. She was like, I will watch your children. Your children can come to class with you. You're not quitting. You're at the end. And because of that, I cannot tell you how much she meant to me. I didn't quit. And we had a dinner at the house later, and she gave me this gift, and it said perseverance on it. And it meant so much to me because she saw something in me that I was not seeing in myself. Up until that point, I had been a very strong person, and the Lord needed to show me how weak I was. And I'm going to just tell you, it's not bad to be weak with the Lord. It's not bad to be humble with the Lord, and it's not bad to be real with the Lord. I just had to be on that path. I would be more comparable to the sons of thunder in the New Testament, who would be calling fire down from heaven. That was my personality, and the Lord needed to show me who I was without him, but who I could be with him. And so when he was telling me to trust him, there's so many stories that I could tell you, but one story that really sticks out in my mind, because God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. He told me to go to this mall, this shopping center that I never go to. So I was with my 2 children. I'm at this mall, and this was the time that I was fasting and praying, and I'll tell you all about that later. But this tall gentleman, elderly gentleman with white hair came up to me. I was sitting down, and especially when you're a mom, you can understand, ladies, when you see somebody walking up and you see your children, you automatically get alert, you're watching, you're making sure they're staying the right distance. And he came and he sat next to me. So I'm kind of watching him out of the corner, and he turns to me and speaks directly to me. And he said, "Young lady, that which you have been praying for, God has heard your prayer." Well, that's a general statement. I mean, we can all be praying for stuff and God hear us, and I appreciated that, and I smiled. But then he looked at me and he said, "Your husband's coming home." Now, I'm going to tell you, that is not a general statement, and he had no reason to say that to me. And I knew that the Lord was speaking to him. And I knew that the Lord had told him to come there and told me to come there. It was too specific. And he got up and he left. I want you to know that if you are at a place to where you feel like you're alone and you feel like God is not hearing you, you storm the gates and you don't quit praying. Jacob wrestled with Jesus Christ. He wrestled with him. He was a deceiver. He was a liar. And he knew his name because he knew what Jacob meant. But yet, he clung to a promise, and he said, "I will not let go of you until you bless me." He fought with the Son of God and held on to the promise that was made to his father and said, "I will not let go of you until you bless me." And because of that, Jacob, he was honored. And then if you need more evidence of that, look into the New Testament when Jesus Christ tells you about the woman with the king. She went and bothered him every day and cried. And the king said, "I'm going to answer her just because I want her to leave me alone. She won't quit." Amen. How much should we press forward? How often do we give up because we don't believe? Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all ways acknowledge him, and he will bring it to pass. Either all of his words are true or they're a lie.